Fox News Alert, we're still monitoring the investigation in Tucson as Fox Digital is reporting 2 men with badges entered the home next door to Nancy Guthrie's. They spent a few minutes sitting in their car in the driveway and have since left. We'll keep watching this and bring you any updates. Now to this. We're monitoring a press conference out of Rhode Island. Officials are giving updates after yesterday's shooting at a high school hockey game. Police are identifying Robert Dorgan as the shooter, but say he used a different name, Roberta Esposito. Just a few minutes ago, the police chief said the motive is unclear.
The suspect went by the name Roberta. It appeared that the suspect was in female clothes yesterday, but again, that's nothing that had swayed the investigation one way or another. We're just trying to kind of factually put the pieces together and let that lead us on to obviously why this occurred yesterday.
Dorgan did turn the gun on himself, though after shooting and killing his ex-wife and son. He also shot his in-laws, who were both at the game. Both are in critical condition. A family source says now 2 siblings, the high school hockey player and his sister, who is studying to be a nurse, are left without either parent. Dorgan reportedly had a history of family disputes, some involving conflict over his gender identity. Court records show in early 2020, Dorgan reported to police he had recently undergone gender reassignment surgery and that his father-in-law wanted him out of their home because of it. June 2024, the governor of Rhode Island, Dan McKee, signed legislation that makes his state a sanctuary for gender-affirming care. And just a few minutes ago, the governor called out domestic violence.
Too many Rhode Islanders know what it feels like to lose a loved one, or a neighbor, or a friend to gun violence. And too many have experienced the tragedy of domestic violence. And we've made efforts in that area. We're going to double down in that area. That's a really important thing that we are going to move forward on to make sure that this domestic violence issue is one that we focus on as a state.
The governor seemingly unwilling to address the elephant in the room, what seems to be a correlation, and at the very least, a trend. Let's explain. Just 1 week ago, at least 8 people were killed in a school shooting in Canada. The shooter there, 18 years old, was described in the media as a trans woman, described as assigned male at birth. This was a man who wanted to be a woman, who shot and killed many in Canada. You remember the Assunciation Catholic Church and school shooting. That was August of last year. 2 children dead. The suspect, born male, had legally changed his name to Robin and at times identified as transgender. In 2024, the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, according to sources, and not many people remember this, but the would-be assassin Thomas Crooks used they, them pronouns. The Covenant school shooting in Nashville, March 2023. 6 dead. The shooter, Audrey Hale, went by Aiden Hale. And then back in 2022, the assassination plot against Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh in Maryland, the man convicted, Nicholas John Roski, now identifies as Sophie Roski after being sentenced to over 8 years in prison. And that is just a few of the examples in this ever-growing trend, leading us to the obvious question, is there a connection between gender ideology and violence? Psychotherapist and family therapist Tom Kersting joins me now. Tom, thanks for being with me here today. Let's go straight to that question. Is there a connection between whatever's going on with trans and violence?
There certainly seems to be a correlation. We can't obviously say there's causality. You know that, like every trans person is going to do this. I think what the real underbelly of this here, which I've seen in my private practice over the years as transgenderism has really escalated, is a lot of the individuals that wind up going down that path already had some underlying mental health conditions, some underlying insecurities, and they find themselves in communities where they feel accepted. So you hear about this individual in Rhode Island, who transitioned, didn't feel that he was accepted, by his own family for doing this. And I think he just got sucked into a real deep, dark rabbit hole. And obviously he had some severe underlying mental health conditions because, regardless of the transgender identity, this wouldn't be considered normal behavior to go kill people like this simply because they disagree with you.
Okay, I want to explore a couple of avenues with you just really quickly in the time that we have together. First, you make a great point that gender ideology transitioning is often connected to underlying mental health issues. But gender ideology in and of itself, transitioning, that was at one time also considered a mental health condition, gender dysphoria. And once you're dealing with conditions of the brain, now you're sort of dealing in a world where erratic or possibly violent behavior becomes at least more probable or possible.
Yeah, there's a strong possibility. To your point, gender dysphoria in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual is not considered a mental health condition. It used to be called transgender identity disorder before recent years, which was a mental health condition. So some of the colleagues that I've spoken to, now that it's changed and not considered a mental health condition, means that the individual can't really get the necessary treatment. And furthermore, with individuals like this with really deep, dark underlying mental health conditions, and especially basking in a world that's filled with anger, streaming right into their phones all day long, everything's picked up on a camera. That's now fueling this mental instability, in my opinion, now normalizing that kind of behavior, and now we're seeing these kinds of actions. So you're taking vulnerable people, Will, and they're marinating in very bad stuff, very dangerous stuff.
That's a great point. That's a very great point. One last question, I've got to go. What about, obviously somebody that walks down the path of gender transition, not all, but some, go through some pretty serious, at least hormonal treatments, medicines that they're taking, things that really affect the way your mind operates.
Yeah, well, you got that part. You also have a lot of them are on psychotropic mental health medication, right? And we know, here's something I'll share real quick. People don't know. Marijuana nowadays, with the high levels of potency, 60 or 70%, do some research. There are people that have something known as cannabis-induced psychosis and have smoked marijuana and killed people because they had a psychotic breakdown from smoking marijuana. Now imagine these high-power, drugs, psychotropic drugs, gender transitioning drugs. What is going on there? Maybe that's part of it.
In fact, if you're curious about what Tom just brought up, I did an hour on that today with Alex Berenson on, marijuana, THC, just a warning of some of the potential evidence and science that's coming out about what it does to the mind in high doses and high frequency. Tom Kersting, thanks for being with us here today.
Thanks, Will. Appreciate it.